Joselu. Hollywood couldn't write this better. 2011, a 21-year-old striker makes his Real Madrid debut. One appearance, one goal. Then he's gone. Sold. Deemed not good enough for the biggest club in the world. What follows is 12 years bouncing between mid-table Spanish clubs and Premier League relegation battles. Stoke City, Newcastle, Deportivo, Alaves. The kind of career where you stop dreaming about Madrid and start focusing on staying employed. March 2023. At 32 years old, he finally gets his first Spain call-up. Euro qualifier against Norway. Comes on as a substitute and scores twice in 4 minutes. Then, summer 2023. Real Madrid needs emergency depth. Karim Benzema just left. They're desperate. So they call the same player they discarded 12 years earlier. A loan deal. Low expectations, just fill the squad. Fast forward to May 8th, 2024. Champions League semi-final against Bayern Munich. Bayern lead 3-2 on aggregate. 81st minute, Joselu enters. 7 minutes later, he's scored twice to send Madrid to another Champions League final. At the club that once decided he wasn't good enough, Real Madrid's social media exploded. Suddenly, everyone wanted to know, who is this guy? The answer, exactly who he'd always been. A professional striker who maximized limited talent through intelligence, positioning, and timing. 18 goals that season. Consistent contributions replacing injured stars. Nothing spectacular until it was. But here's what happens with journeyman redemption stories. They're celebrated for 48 hours, then forgotten when the next news cycle starts. Joselu's semi-final heroics should have been all anyone talked about. Instead, Jude Bellingham's season, Vinicius Jr.'s flair, and Madrid's inevitable Champions League triumph became the story. His career represents every underdog who peaks at exactly the right time. Most strikers never get a second chance. Joselu got it and delivered. Whether he's remembered for it depends entirely on whether you're still watching this video or you've already moved on to the next thing. Guillermo Ochoa. June 17th, 2014. Guillermo Ochoa was unemployed. No club contract, no salary. Playing for Mexico at the World Cup as a free agent, basically auditioning for his next paycheck on the biggest stage in sports. Then, Brazil happened. 6 saves, several physics-defying. Neymar's header that should have been goal of the tournament? Ochoa's fingertip, compared immediately to Gordon Banks' legendary Pelé save. Thiago Silva's point-blank header in the 86th minute? Another impossible denial. By the final whistle, Ochoa had single-handedly held Brazil scoreless on their own soil. The football world exploded. Transfer rumours connected him to Arsenal, Liverpool, and top European clubs. Google searches for his name spiked 46 times overnight. His market value jumped significantly. Here's what actually happened. He signed with Malaga, then Granada, then wandered through Standard Liège, America, Salernitana. 4 years later at the 2018 World Cup, he produced another masterclass against Germany. 9 crucial saves in a 1-0 victory. 3 World Cups, a decade of international excellence, yet his name mostly triggers, "Oh yeah, that guy from that Brazil game," instead of what he's done after. The business lesson? Timing beats talent. Ochoa peaked during a transfer window when clubs had already committed their goalkeeper budgets. By the time the market reopened, the hype had cooled. His stock never reached its true valuation, but at least he will always have those performances. Rui Costa. Name the best playmakers of the early 2000s. You'll say Zidane, Rivaldo, Figo, maybe Riquelme if you're feeling nostalgic. But Rui Costa? The Portuguese maestro who orchestrated AC Milan's midfield and led Fiorentina through their most romantic era. Somehow, he's been erased from the conversation. Between 1994 and 2006, Rui Costa played 94 times for Portugal, scored 26 goals, and was a vital part of the golden generation that reached a Euro final. At club level, he won Serie A with Milan, reached a Champions League final with Fiorentina, and was so technically gifted that Kaká looked up to him. The evidence for greatness. AC Milan paid €44 million for him in 2001, making him the club's most expensive transfer ever at that time, and the fifth biggest transfer globally that summer. He immediately slotted into a midfield with Pirlo, Gattuso and Seedorf, making them tick. His vision, first touch and passing range were pristine. At Fiorentina, he was the symbol of their resurgence, beloved by the Viola faithful. Portugal's attack ran through him. He wasn't flashy like Figo. He was the conductor nobody noticed until the music stopped. The problem? Rui Costa played in Serie A during its most defensive era, where a 1-0 win with 60% possession counted as entertainment. His style, patient, methodical, cerebral, didn't generate highlight reels. He peaked right as the Galactico era prioritized marketability over substance. And he had the misfortune of playing for Portugal alongside Figo, the actual poster boy. At Euro 2004, after clashing with manager Luis Felipe Scolari, Costa was substituted at half-time in the opening match and subsequently dropped. Though he contributed in the quarter-final penalty shootout against England, Portugal's heartbreaking loss in the final became Figo's tragedy, not his. At Milan, he started the 2003 Champions League final that Milan won on penalties. From the following season onward, his playing time diminished as Kaká emerged. When the young Brazilian became a superstar wearing the number 10, Rui Costa's legacy faded into a footnote. Elite playmaker forgotten by history, or good player elevated by nostalgia. His trophy cabinet, Serie A, multiple domestic cups, a Champions League medal, suggests he was legitimately great. Either way, he deserves better than being football's most elegant ghost.
Gabor Király.
Grey sweatpants. That's his entire brand. Google Gabor Király and the image results are 90% sweatpants, 10% actual saves. He became a meme before memes dominated sports marketing. Instead of monetizing it, Király just played football for decades. And that's the actually interesting story. Király's international career spanned from 1998 to 2016, 18 years representing Hungary through lean times and unexpected glory. The national team spent years in the wilderness, watching major tournaments from home, while Király made save after save in qualifying campaigns that always fell short. Then came Euro 2016. Hungary qualified for their first major tournament in 30 years, and there was 40-year-old Király, the oldest player in the competition. Against Belgium, with Hungary trailing 1-0, Kevin De Bruyne stepped up to take a trademark free kick in the 35th minute. Király dove full stretch and tipped it onto the crossbar, a save that defied his age. Only a handful of goalkeepers in history have played past 40 in a major international tournament. Fewer still performed at Király's level. He'd waited nearly 2 decades for this moment and delivered performances that helped Hungary advance to the knockout rounds for the first time since 1972. Király wasn't elite by global standards, but he was consistently good across one of the longest goalkeeper careers in professional football, with 108 caps and club stints into his 40s. His legacy? A Wikipedia page that mentions sweatpants in the first paragraph and football in the second. Sometimes the thing that makes you memorable is exactly what prevents people from remembering what you actually did.
Brian McClair.
Before Eric Cantona, before Roy Keane, before David Beckham, before Manchester United became a billion-dollar global brand generating $600+ million in annual revenue, there was Brian McClair. He combined technical skill, physical presence, and intelligent positioning in ways that made him indispensable. 24 goals in the 1989-1990 season as a forward who could also create, defend, and adapt. Then United evolved. Cantona arrived and changed football culture. Keane brought midfield dominance. The class of '92 emerged. Suddenly, McClair was depth. A versatile option who could play anywhere needed. Forward, midfield, wide, central. That versatility killed his legacy. He never owned a position long enough for people to remember him. His 471 appearances and 127 goals for United should guarantee legend status. Instead, he's barely mentioned in their history. For Scotland, he provided similar excellence in worse circumstances. Crucial goals despite the national team's perpetual struggles. McClair represents football's forgotten foundation. The players who built dynasties before star power took over, who accepted supporting roles without demanding credit, who prioritized winning over individual recognition. That mentality deserves celebration, but it doesn't generate YouTube views or social media engagement. McClair's career was professional excellence, which apparently isn't memorable enough.
Stoichkov. Ballon d'Or winner, World Cup Golden Boot, Barcelona legend. One of the greatest forwards of the 90s. So why does Stoichkov feel underrated? Because his talent came packaged with volatility that overshadowed his brilliance. 1994 World Cup. Stoichkov carried Bulgaria to the semi-finals, their greatest tournament run ever. 6 goals. Unstoppable. But football history prioritizes champions, and Bulgaria's semi-final loss to Italy meant Stoichkov's heroics became a footnote. Nobody discusses fourth-place finishers. Barcelona years. Part of the dream team under Johan Cruyff. Champions League winner in 1992. La Liga dominance. His left foot was art. His movement confused defenders. His finishing was clinical. But playing alongside Romario meant sharing the spotlight. 2 massive personalities, 2 competing egos, both capable of match-winning performances. Stoichkov's fiery nature created friction that eventually drove him out of Barcelona. His post-Camp Nou career never matched those heights, which let revisionist history diminish his peak. The question: was Stoichkov underrated, or did his personality limit him from achieving even more? Could he have won Ballon d'Ors with better temperament management? Or was his emotion the fuel that powered his football? There's no clean answer. What's certain, his 1994 World Cup run carried an entire nation's dreams. His Barcelona years produced elite-level performances. His left foot was pure art. But football remembers narratives, and Stoichkov's narrative became talented hothead instead of one of the 90s best forwards. Maybe both things are true.
Jens Lehmann. Here's the problem with Jens Lehmann. Everyone remembers the wrong thing. The 2006 Champions League final, the red card, the villain moment that cost Arsenal their first European trophy. That narrative overshadows everything, which is exactly backwards, because Lehmann's career outside his last inconsistent Arsenal days was elite. Bundesliga years with Borussia Dortmund and Schalke, crucial penalty saves, match-defining performances. A goalkeeper who thrived in chaos. His aggression wasn't reckless, it was calculated dominance. Defenders trusted him because he commanded the penalty area like he owned it. Opponents feared him because he'd sprint 40 yards to close down attacks. That edge made him world-class. Germany's 2006 World Cup run. He saved a penalty against Argentina in the quarter-final shootout that sent the host nation to the semi-finals. His preparation was legendary, bringing notes about opposing penalty takers, studying tendencies, turning shootouts into psychological warfare. Even at Arsenal, he went an entire Premier League season unbeaten. That requires consistency, composure, and excellence. Occasional mistakes don't erase 49 matches unbeaten, but football often reduces careers to singular moments. Lehmann's red card became his downfall and haunted his performances at Arsenal after that. The redemption arc never came. He was 36, near retirement, without time to rewrite narratives. So now he's the guy who got sent off in the Champions League final, instead of one of the Premier League's best goalkeepers and a World Cup hero. Would you rather be remembered incorrectly or not remembered at all? Lehmann got both.
Davor Šuker.
France, 1998, 6 goals, Golden Boot, 3rd place.
Davor Šuker's summer was perfect. That left foot was a thing of beauty. The chip against Denmark at Euro 96, Peter Schmeichel helpless, the ball floating over him like it was programmed.
Against Germany in the World Cup quarter-finals, a diagonal ball, one touch to control, cut inside, bang. Clinical. Every finish looked effortless, like he was playing a different game than everyone else. Croatia's debut World Cup, third place, a nation of 4 million stunning the world. Šuker became a legend overnight, but ask anyone about Šuker today, and they'll tell you about 1998. Press them on his club career and you'll get silence. Here's what they're missing. Sevilla, 5 years, 58 goals, second highest scorer in La Liga behind Romario in 1993-94. Not just good, elite. One of Spain's most dangerous forwards. Real Madrid, 1996-97 season, 24 goals, 3 hat-tricks. La Liga champions. He formed a lethal partnership with Raúl and Mijatovic that terrorized defenses across Europe. This isn't a decent club career. This is world class. So why does nobody remember it? Because Croatia's 1998 run felt like magic. A brand new nation, barely 6 years old, reaching the World Cup semi-finals. Nobody expected it. The romance of it, the shock of it, the impossibility of it. That's what stuck. Šuker became the face of that fairy tale. And fairy tales don't leave room for the mundane reality of La Liga Sundays. There's another problem. His Madrid years came before the Galacticos era, before Figo, before Zidane, before Beckham. His success predated the marketing machine that turned Real Madrid into a global brand. Great timing for winning trophies, terrible timing for being remembered. Here's the truth about football. International tournaments create legends. Club football creates careers. Šuker had both, but we only remember one. 6 goals in 7 games erased 114 La Liga goals. A 3-week tournament in France overshadowed a decade of excellence in Spain. Consistency doesn't create legends. Moments do. We chose to remember only the moments. Maybe that's the real tragedy. Not that he's underrated, but that being a World Cup hero somehow became bigger than being genuinely world-class.
Troy Deeney. May 12, 2013. Championship playoff semi-final. Injury time. Watford level with Leicester, 2-2 on aggregate. Leicester gets a penalty that would end Watford's season. Manuel Almunia saves it. Watford counters. Jonathan Hogg heads forward. Troy Deeney receives. Fires past Kasper Schmeichel, goal. Shirt off. Flexing. Roaring. Pandemonium. The goal earned a name. The golden goal. It's been watched millions of times on YouTube. The commentary, "Do not scratch your eyes, you are really seeing the most extraordinary finish here," became instant folklore. In the social media era, that moment should have launched Deeney into mainstream recognition. Instead, it stayed confined to Watford supporters and Championship fans. Deeney spent his entire career at Watford, captaining them from League One to the Premier League. Loyal, professional, physically dominant. His personality, honest, confrontational, never fake, made him compelling. But he never played for a top 6 club, never represented England, never operated on Champions League stages. That Leicester goal would have been replayed endlessly if it happened in a Premier League title race or European competition. Instead, it's a Championship playoff moment, meaning it matters intensely to specific communities but remains invisible to casual audiences. Deeney's legacy is club legend status without broader fame, which raises the question, is that enough? For Watford fans, absolutely. Deeney gave them their greatest modern moment. For everyone else, he's a trivia answer about a goal many people don't remember. That gap between local hero and global recognition defines thousands of careers. Deeney's just happens to be perfectly documented.
Morten Gamst Pedersen. Let's be honest, nobody cares about mid-table excellence. Blackburn Rovers, 2004 to 2013. Morten Gamst Pedersen played there for nearly a decade, delivering consistent quality with one of the Premier League's deadliest left feet. Free kicks that curved impossibly, crosses that created goals, technical ability that would have thrived at elite clubs.
Yet he stayed at Blackburn, providing excellence that went completely unnoticed outside their fan base. His highlight reel is impressive. Strikes against Manchester United, Arsenal, Liverpool that showcased technique bordering on perfection. His work rate was exceptional for a traditional winger. His delivery created countless goals. But Blackburn finished from 6th to 15th most seasons. That's respectable. That's also forgettable. Mid-table teams don't generate headlines unless they're dramatically overperforming or catastrophically failing. Consistent competence is invisible. For Norway, Pedersen represented across multiple tournaments, but the national team's struggles meant his individual excellence disappeared into qualifying failures. His career highlights exist in YouTube compilations viewed by dedicated fans. Here's the brutal economics. Pedersen possessed talent worthy of Champions League football. His left foot deserved bigger stages. But circumstances, Blackburn's financial limitations, Norway's national team struggles, timing, meant he never got that opportunity. Football history is written by winners and spectacular failures. Consistent mid-table performers just exist. Then they're forgotten. Pedersen represents football's forgotten middle class. Talented enough to succeed at the highest level, unlucky enough to never get the chance. His career was professional excellence, which apparently isn't memorable enough for anyone except Blackburn fans and Norwegian football historians.
Jerzy Dudek. 2005 Champions League Final, Istanbul, Liverpool versus AC Milan. That penalty save against Shevchenko, Dudek's double save in extra time, followed by his heroics in the shootout, delivered Liverpool their 5th European Cup. Iconic, legendary, career-defining. So why doesn't anyone talk about him? Because one night doesn't erase 5 years of inconsistency. Liverpool fans loved Dudek after Istanbul, but they also remember the errors, the dropped crosses, the misjudged clearances, the goals that should have been saved. Champions League hero status couldn't override Premier League mediocrity. Pepe Reina arrived the next season. Dudek became backup. His Istanbul legacy became a highlight reel moment rather than sustained excellence. He moved to Real Madrid, sitting on their bench, collecting paychecks, occasionally playing Copa del Rey matches. That's not how legends finish careers. Here's the uncomfortable reality. One perfect night can secure your legacy, but it can't rewrite your entire career. Dudek was good enough for that night, not good enough for sustained elite-level performance. Istanbul immortalized him, but only in that specific context. Outside Liverpool's fan base, he's a trivia answer. Inside it, he's complicated. Hero and limitation. Simultaneously, 11 careers. Billions in potential market value lost to timing, circumstance, and football's selective memory. These weren't bench players who got lucky. They were elite performers who deserved more recognition, and in some way just received a small portion of it. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe for more stories on the beautiful game.